But okay, what do I have up here? Well, whenever we run the OS so far, it gives that warning message from qemu about, you know, it doesn't know the format because we didn't specify it. So I did a little research on that, and this seems to work, at least on some other test files I did. I was testing Visa BIOS extensions for better graphics modes going forward, and I got it working in a test thing, but I don't think I'm going to show that. But this line ensures that we can load correctly without that warning. So I want to echo what we just did. I can do, I guess, this. Let's put it in the make file. Okay. So I just want to change the run command here to this. So we'll do that. So I want to do drive format raw file will be our os.bin here. Bin os.bin. Index 0, still counting it as a floppy for now. I guess eventually I'll try changing this to like a hard disk, something that isn't a floppy. But until that point, we'll still say it's a floppy. So let's see. I guess first of all, if that works for make run. And it does. That's good. See, we don't get that warning anymore about stuff being bad. So that's good. So we have our stuff here. I wanted to fix the new line issues with spaces at the start of the line when we load files in the text editor. So let's just make a basic one. Put test line 1, enter, test line 2, enter. Okay, Control S. Test file 1. Okay, so that's there. Let's load the test file. All right, so the new lines are appearing at the start. Well, they aren't appearing, but we have spaces at the start of the lines, and the new line, instead of being at the end, is at the start of the line. So I want to fix that. All right, I believe it's in the editor at around, you know, this part of the file, where we have the not new line, where we're, well, let me pull it up. Makes more sense if I actually show it like on the screen, doesn't it? Okay, in this loop. So the whole issue is that I'm incrementing here before I'm actually printing the character down here. So by default, it increments to like position 1 in the screen before it prints the first character. So that's why there's an initial space, but it's just, we're off by 1 pretty much. Off by 1 error, you know, C programmers will love those. But I think that's the only issue here. My solution that I thought of the other night without testing so far has been this. Instead of jumping to increment, we're going to jump not equal to go on. We'll get rid of the increment label, and we'll move the increment word down to before the save input character restoration. So I want to get rid of this, change it go on, get rid of this label, because we won't need that. It'll just go down here because this will be moved here. So I want to try that and see. So let's see, I'll change that to go on. We'll get rid of this label and we'll move this down there. So we'll see if that works. That assembled, which is good. So I got to retype a file. Test 1, line 2, line. Backspace doesn't work. That's okay. It doesn't matter. Test file 1, that's still there. Okay, so we printed that out. All right, so the new line is still printing at the start though. So we do need to change that. We need to change the new line to not print the start. See, backspace is also hex 8, in case you didn't know. I'm converting to hex there. We probably need to print out the space and then go to the next line instead of going to the next line first. That's probably what we need to do. So I would want to do this stuff and then move it to 0 and then do the loop. All right, this can be a bad label name right now. Go on to, for lack of better stuff, because this is stuff we want to do after every single byte, no matter what, if it's a new line character or not. Still getting used to this keyboard so many weeks later. All right. Don't do that. Do it there. Okay. So print a space and then move it to 0. And then do this stuff. And then instead of go on, we'll go to go on 2. So this we don't need here. I do need the character in AL. I don't need that. Yeah. Okay. The go on 2 will not print, so let's just get rid of that. Let's change this to print character. Let's just change that. Go here. Let's do this. We'll print. And then we'll store it. We'll increment the lengths. We'll do that every time. But we don't want to increment first. We want to increment after. Yeah, we don't want to do that. Oh, let's do this again. This is already a terrible episode. I apologize. Very tired today. I will name that go on to because we do this stuff. So after here, we'll jump. All right. I need to rename the go on labels anyway, but that's okay. Yeah, I guess we can call it print character. That's fine. And then we want to increment the X. Okay. So if it's not a new line, we want to print and then increment the X position of the cursor. So it'll go, one more over. But if it is a new line, we want to print and then move the cursor down to the beginning of the next line. Okay. It just took me forever to get there. Again, apologies for that. Gotta wake my brain back up to this. It doesn't because it's invalid. Nice. What is the... Oh, because I have a colon. Yeah, don't put a colon there, you dork. For something that ain't a label. Alright. Let's make test 1, test line 2, line 3, test file 01. Oh, looky there. Now it should be here instead of at the beginning. The only issue with this is that since we're padding things out to one sector by default, and these are all zeros, this isn't an easy file to edit. I guess if I move the arrow keys, I can go, I can go up. And it's probably buggy because I shouldn't really be able to go up all here, but we go to the beginning and the end is over there. Like that's not correct. And that stems from the fact that our up and down logic is not working on screen line length. The up and down arrow logic is working off of new lines. Although what's interesting is that we can keep going up till the top. That's interesting. Okay, I want to also make a print string text mode function to go along with our print character text mode. So if we remember what that looks like. The only git command you ever need, git push origin master. What are branches? We don't need branches. Where we're going, we don't need branches. Actually, I want to go to include print, so okay, print character text mode. Let's copy that. Oh, we're gonna copy that. So we have print string text mode. Let's open these up. Now, the reason I have these both opened and I copied it to begin with is because I don't know if I want to just call print character text mode in a loop or if I want to do something different for the string printing. We have the row and the column. This will be to start printing at. Bytes. That should be okay. Character to print. So instead of a character to print, we'll probably pass a string address, right? Let's do that. This will be address of string will be the first input, which would be in BP plus 8. Let's move that to SI. We'll also push SI. last, so we'll pop it first. We want to do this stuff in a loop, I'm sure. We'll make a loop. We'll just have a loop here. This will be the end of our loop. Put that here, actually. So how do we want to go through all the characters? Well, we probably need to compare. I can load to AL, which is what we need to do here. So let's do that. Let's load string byte. And we'll compare AL to 0. You know what we could do also is a regular print string. There we go. We'll do something similar to this. Load string byte, compare to 0. If it is 0, we'll go to end print. Compare to 0, jump equal end print. Otherwise, we print it by doing this. Actually, could move this here. We only need to do that once as well. AH should not change, only AL. I think that should be all we need to do, hopefully. We just have to make sure to pass a full string when we call this. This is also called print string text mode. Print string text mode, we'll use that instead of print string. Bill, I mean, that's not going to change, right? Because we need to put it in the kernel. So the other part of doing this was also to replace all interrupt 10h uses. So anything in these files that has that. So I think I can do that with grep. We want to search recursively for, so I want to search recursively through subdirectories for int 10h in here. So we have a lot of places where that is. We have a lot in the boot sector, which I'm okay with using interrupts in the boot sector until we switch to 32-bit mode and go to the kernel. The boot sector is the only place that'll have interrupts at that point anyway. Well, let's see. Let's start with the kernel, because I need to give more love to the kernel. It is the source of all of our happiness and misery at the same time. Let's see where we got our 10h going on. All right, print input characters. So this is just a character right here. So we need to push the character to print, which is in AL. I want to push the row to print to and the column to print to. I don't think we're keeping track of row and column for the cursor in the kernel right now, which is not good because we'll have to add that kind of code in here. I don't think I'm doing that. Nope. Okay, well this can be a bit more code than I wanted to do, but that's all right. It'll be a word. Kernel cursor Y, we'll put a word. Do we have print character text mode even in here? We don't. Let's put that in as well. We are updating our kernel to modern standards. Nice. We'll put in string as well. Print, that's great. 2 underscores, print character and print string. Okay. Initialize cursor position. Initially, we'll probably put it up here because we can go back to the prompt without clearing the screen. If we clear the screen, we can initialize to 0, 0, or well, 0 and 3, however big our prompt is, characters over. So, but if we don't clear the screen and we're just going down, then it'll be different. I also don't know how to do scrolling with this. Wow, this is a lot. This can be a lot harder than I thought. So let's I'll do this. If it's up here, it'll be a different cursor position. That is all right. Kernel cursor X will be 4, right? 0, 1, 5 lines down, but it's 0 based. So it'll be 4. Kernel cursor Y. Y would be 4 rather, not X. Sorry. Y will be 4 because Y is the row. The column will be, the prompt is 2 characters, right? Which would be 0 and 1, so this should be 2. All right, but when we get input, hopefully they're saved. anytime the prompt appears, the x will change to 2, but the y will, well, the y would increment as well, wouldn't it? Wow, this is annoying. Okay, we'll update them elsewhere, because there will be a bunch of parts that can change after running commands and such. But this is the character we want to print. And we need the row to print to, which is in kernel cursor y. Input 2, and this will be column to print to input 3. Okay. Then we should be able to call print character text mode. And afterwards clean up the stack, which that is 3 words, so we'll add 6. And we'll do that instead of doing int 10. We'll have to change how we handle backspace, like right here. Go back 1 character, jump equal not backspace. So I did that down here. Never mind. We will keep this though when we do not backspace. I need to read my own code. That would be good. What did I just do? Let's actually copy. I'm having trouble hitting the number. They're $sign. That's what I'm having issues with. Okay, not backspace. We'll put you there. Okay. If it is a backspace, we don't want to print anything. We want to move back, and that would be in. We want to move the cursor. Move hardware cursor to new row column. I need to update this. Column to move to. This one is just the row to move to. Okay. That makes more sense, I think. Alright, so backspace right now, I'm not moving the data ahead of the cursor back 1. I will need to do that eventually. So this isn't really a backspace. This is more just a left arrow function that I'm aliasing backspace to, but that's okay. So we will push word kernel cursor X, and well, we'll push Y first. I'm doing row, then column, yep. And kernel cursor Y, and then X, okay. And I'll add 4. So if it's not a backspace, we do want to print the character instead of doing this. Before, let's just do, we'll just move this to do it after this stuff. Okay. So let's see if that works first off in the kernel. Just putting stuff in, seeing where it shows up. Oh, move it back. I need to do this. Let's not do, move the cursor X back 1, as long as it's not at 0. Okay, compare word to 0. And then we won't move back. We'll just go to the key loop. All right. And we're assuming we're not going to type beyond the screen at this point, so let's leave that condition for later. We'll just increment cursor X at this point. And then we'll move the cursor to the next position, because print does not do that. It just prints. We got to move the cursor as well. Increment word cursor X. Hopefully that's self-explanatory. And we'll push Y, push X, and we'll call move cursor again. Which I am not doing because I forgot to do that. Add SP4. Clean up the stack. This, I need a call. Of course, there we go. Yes, okay. Do I have move cursor in the kernel? I don't think I do. Let's put that with the other screen stuff. Include screen with cursor INC. All right. Let's see if that just works right now at the basic prompt when it loads up. File not found. Print character text mode. Really? Are you sure? I'm going to be really worried if it's not there. Oh, include print. I never put the slash in when I did it. Making all sorts of bad mistakes, of course. That's okay. I don't program for my day job 8 hours a day. Whoever told you that? That can't be why my brain is busted at this point. That can't be it. It's definitely not just an excuse. Hopefully that is okay. Push AL invalid size. Yeah, I should have thought about that, shouldn't I? We did store it. So can XOR AH and push AX. There we go. We'll do that instead. There we go. All right, let's see what all breaks here. Can I put in a character? Look, the cursor spawned correctly, so we did move it right to the right line and column to start. Let's just try backspace, see if it works like a left arrow. It does. All right, put it again. We shouldn't be able to go anymore. Okay. So let's put in, I don't know, T. Oh, so it prints and then it moves the cursor. Ooh, but that's not good. Look at that. What is that garbage? Oh, that's not good at all. Let's try that again. Can I run a program by typing this stuff? Okay, that does work, and it goes back. All right. Hey, there we go. So as expected, very boring change. Nothing really changed. That's good. That's what we want. I like it when things work. Now this is going to be a lot more code, a lot more boilerplate than just using the interrupts as provided. The interrupt does a lot of stuff behind the scenes in BIOS and ROM that we can't really affect or see, or maybe you can, but I can't. But we're just kind of making what was a black box a lot more explicit and running through it. So what is it really doing? In our case, what do we really want it to do? At a basic level, we want to, when we do interrupt 10, we want to print and move the cursor. We just have to do that kind of separately here. Well, actually, in move cursor, I'm calling int 10, so I can't. We're being a little more explicit by moving the cursor. But we're still calling int 10 because I didn't want to make that into hardware ports yet. I will get to that. I did write that down. But okay, other than that, we are actually writing the character to video memory though, which int 10 normally handles for us. Okay, and it's really not that much more code. We're just messing with the stack. So where else are we using int 10? Here, return file character, print file character to screen. It is an AL. We don't handle new lines currently. You know, in here, we're not handling new lines when we're moving the cursor, so not really good. I could put move cursor logic into print character, so it wouldn't have to be separate, but we won't always move when we print, so I don't want to do that. Let's just put a to do here for now, so I remember to do it later, hopefully. Change to use print character text mode. And handle new lines. Well, I guess we could compare if it's at the end of the screen, which would be character 80 or 79 in this current text mode. And if we're at 79 when we go to print, we want to do like what we did when we loaded a text file in the editor. We want to move to the next row down and simulate the new line pretty much. So use load file text. So I want to do something similar to that, so we'll probably do that later. I don't want to do that right now. We could do this, I guess. Instead of printing a new line, when we go back to get input, we would just move the cursor. Move cursor down for new line when done. Okay. So I will increment increment y. So we'll just move it down. This will probably be buggy when we hit the end of the screen, though. I don't know how it'll handle scrolling or things, because past row 24 in our text mode, there isn't really anything, so I'm not sure how that'll work. If it counts subsequent rows correctly when it moves. Maybe int 10 handles that. We'll see. Well, we can check. We can see. Row to print to, and I'm not writing these comments on every single time I do this, just on some of them, which I don't know if that's good or not. Probably not great to be inconsistent. Inconsistency is not great, but I'm only human, right? So move into cursor X, whatever our prompt takes up, which is 2, so we'll move it back to 2. Because it's 0 based. So this is hard coded right now. Maybe we'll do like a prompt length variable and then put it into there. That'd probably be better later on. Then we could have a variable prompt. So then we won't need to do that. We're calling our other thing for it. Put down one line and move this there. Okay, let's see if that works. Be very cautious with our stuff here. So that moved up there. Why did that move up there? Oh, look at that. Oh, that's all good. Clear screen. Okay. So we're in clear screen. We're not updating. Let's try to do this again. Directory. We're not really updating. Okay. So it's file table. Yeah, it just moves it down. Because there is no new line. There's only one new line in file table, so we're not doing that. Okay, well, we're not really doing that stuff correctly regardless. I don't really know what all I wanted to program tonight, and it was not going to be a bunch of bug fixes that take forever, so don't really want to worry about it. All right, this will be a to-do item. Fill everything with to-dos and then never actually finish those to-dos. That's the goal. That's what we're doing. We could fix this actually while we're here. After we go to the main menu. So this is a temp fix. This will be... because we're not doing this so far, so it's bad. This is what we're doing. Set up initial video mode and palettes. 3 and this. This is all we're doing. Okay. At least we'll fix that while we're here. This new line I could change, I think. We're just deleting and then going down one line. So I think this one I could change. Hopefully. Okay, let's see if that works for that delete command. Undefined symbol, of course. I think I left that there. Yeah, don't need that. Okay. So if you tried it out before, I didn't show it, but yeah, I mean we have this. Before, when I was returning, I was never resetting the text screen. I was originally, but I took it out for some reason, and then I didn't change it back. So, but now it works and it's good again. So let's delete editor. That appears there, which is interesting. This is print string. We could change this to print string text mode. That might make it work. Ooh, let's do that. Let's break something else while we're here. That's always good. So we're moving this into SI anyway, we can just push SI. And then we can try this out. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Row to print 2. Should be Y. Column to print 2 will be an X. And we'll call print string text mode. SP6. All right. Oh, move prompt to SI. Okay, let's see what doesn't work with that. That prints the prompt at 2. Yes, because the prompt will need to start at 0. Don't like that. Let's make this 0. Let's make that 0. Let's make it first. Okay. But it's still at 0. All right, so because we need to move the cursor past the prompt. Yes, we need to move the cursor after we do that. We're not doing that. Just call this print prompt. There we go. Let's do that. Add word. Wonder if I can do this. Add 2. So a lot of, I guess, overhead. A lot of boilerplate. Well, that's kind of what Int 10 is doing regardless, so oh well. Maybe not this much, but oh well. We can always cut it down later if we find stuff that works better. Okay, that should have moved it. All right, there we go. Now we can delete stuff we don't use. What's weird is that that prints the prompt at position 2. That's kind of weird. We moved to 2. Oh, and then we moved that. Okay, so I just have to move it to 0. Yeah, okay. Inside a new line. That makes sense. Let's do that. Right. So if we do delete file here, backspace is going to work. Cool. Delete calculator. There we go. It goes there. Directory we need to move down, of course. How do we know how many lines we need to move down for directory? We don't. That's the cool part. We'll do something similar that we did for delete up here. And we can get rid of these lines. We could make callable little subroutines or labels that we could put this stuff under as well. But I'm not, so. Not right now, at least. But I probably could. That may be over-optimization, bike shedding at this point. Not really sure. All right, let's see how that works. So we should be able to rename calculator to calc. That works, then we'll delete calc. Of course, we'll go next line, but that does work, you know, just directory doesn't. Okay, so delete and rename have been changed. This is not being used, we'll get rid of that. Let's look at, not shut down, look at clear screen. So clear screen moves the hardware cursor. Oh, I do move it. Move the cursor. I'm just calling int 10 and not calling move cursor, which is okay. Maybe we can change that, take it out of here. Even though that's already doing it, that's fine. We still need to change the cursor X and Y values. So we'll just do this. Update cursor values for new position. So they'll be moved to 0. I think both will be 0. So X and Y. Because we're going all the way to the top, and then we'll print out the prompt and then go on from there. So that'll be fine. Going all the way to the top of the screen if you want to rock and roll. So 0, and then jump get input. And let's just make sure that works. You know, directory, that's all nice, but even though we're not handling it, clear screen, it works there. Okay, it works now, cool. All right, so what other things? So directory and print reg will have to change and make work better. Let's do that. Let's try and change those. We're moving that into there. Okay. That is all right. We'll just change that. Push AX and six. Okay. I do the print string first. Oh, that'll have to change as well. Print file table heading. Okay, oldest change. Okay, so these are values. So I don't need to do this value, not address. I don't need to type that, but I will because I'm probably going to forget. So what we can do instead of changing the input parms, let's just put additional output parms. Return code in AX, we'll do new cursor row value in BX. And we'll do new cursor column value in DX, but not CX. Well, we could do CX. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Do CX. ABC. I could make additional variables here. We'll just store more stuff, right? We'll just do that. Print string. I'll probably consolidate print string and print character later into one file, but right now it's not, so I'm typing all these out. That is okay. Print string cursor X, print string cursor Y. I'm using DI and AX down here, so I can use them here regardless then. I can just move AX. AX is fine. It's the accumulator. It's what it's there for. And Y is set first. Yeah, print string cursor Y. AX. Do that. Plus 4 for X. Okay. So by default, we'll increment word. Print string cursor X. We'll have to add a check to where if we're at the end of the screen at like character 79, then we want to do a new line implicitly, but not store it. But if we come across the actual character of a carriage return or a line feed, we'll have to move the cursor as well. Let's do parallel 0A line feed, and we'll add just do this. Otherwise, we'll go here. Here's return. And we'll jump. Okay. So line feed, we will just move down one line. We'll just move down one line. That's all we have to do. And I'm adding a lot of jumps here, unfortunately. This is bad code. Keep in mind, this is just making it work. It's bad code. Here's return. We will move word print string cursor x 0. If it's at 79, we're good. If this is 80, and we also want to go to, we probably want to do both. CR and an LF. Cursor for CRLF. Okay. Just do both of those, then we'll do loop. Right? So if we're not at the end of the line, well, if it's a line feed, we want to go down one row, right? If it's carriage return, we want to move the cursor to beginning of line. If it's neither, we just want to increment cursor X. And then if we increment and we find out we're at the end of the line, we want to reset it to the beginning of the line and go down one row. BX, turn code. Move into BX, we'll put in string cursor Y. CX will put in the X value for the new outputs. Sometimes I think I put way too many comments when I see other people that are, you know, smart and they know what they're doing. They don't put them everywhere. I put them everywhere because my memory's not that great. But it's usually right now a couple weeks when I go between these and I forget what I'm doing because I don't review my code every day. And so yeah, I put comments everywhere, which is fine, so I don't have to remember stuff. So that's good. Here, we'll want to move the cursor. So BX and CX should contain the values. So kernel cursor Y will be BX. And X will be CX. Cool. We probably can just push BX and CX at this point as well. We moved them into there, but the values didn't change, so we'll push them. Okay. After the prompt, move cursor after prompt. I already moved it after I printed the string, so I just have to do what I just did over there, so. This will be CX. It will have incremented already, so I don't need to do that. Just need to push them and call it. Okay. Hopefully that works. Of course I broke stuff. Yeah, I'm again beyond the sector value. Of course. Of course. Undefined symbol, kernel cursor Y. Oh, kernel cursor X and Y. I could add inputs to the file table. Probably should anyway. I'm still going to put that disclaimer, but we'll do that. Cursor Y position. BX. Okay, we'll do that. File table cursor X, file table cursor Y. We put them both, and the first one would be at 4. The second one would be at 4. This would be the X position, so we need to do 6 first. Okay, and then we can do the Y position. The lower one is the second pushed one, the last pushed one rather. All right, so then these just have to be file table instead. File table. X. Don't really want to do Pape because we're messing with registers now. Don't really want to do Pape. What are we messing with? BX and CX? Oh well. Oh, let's hope everything doesn't break by doing this terrible thing. This is terrible. Never do this. don't do what I say and do. So new cursor Y will be in BX. So we'll move that. Let's move into BX, Word, file table cursor Y. And CX will be cursor X, new cursor X position. Okay, and then we'll fully return. Int 10, we want to change that to print character text mode. We want to change this to also do similar things. All right, let's do similar things here. We'll change this as well, break everything, that's all right. We do want to handle this stuff similarly. That's okay. This be print character, not print string. Sorry, I'm not talking, trying to think so I don't F it up too much. Store the word. So before we store the word, want to compare this. Just copy all of it, go to the end. Just copy all of it. Otherwise, we'll store. We'll update the cursor position if it's there. I don't care. So we don't have a loop, so we don't need to do that. We need to go to, I can call it end print again. Yeah, I'll call it end print. That'll be all right. Otherwise, we'll store it. We'll increment, do this. Jump not equal. This will be end print because it's only one character. These will have to be character. This needs to be character. Same thing as print string, just for one single character. So it is a lot of duplication. Apologies, but hopefully that is all right. So I was doing print file table, which is B1. Just get rid of that line. Okay. Let's go there. Let's just do this up here, do that, and then push AX. Character. Cursor. So int 10 needs to be replaced with print character and move cursor. All right. And also this int 10. Print character with cursor once. Do it twice after we increment. These are just the 3 separate bytes of the file extension. We don't need to do that. Don't think. All right, directory entry. So this is bad, very bad code. Same thing 3 times. That's terrible. We could make it a string, print string text mode, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm calling print string. That's not great. Kernel cursor X and Y will not work either. Okay, yeah, this needs to be character. All right, and instead of 0E, we will move 0, or better yet, we'll XOR. What we could do is just make a string with this many blanks and then cap it off with a null and then call print string text mode, but we'd have to change it more than just doing this. You know? CX, this one was BX. Okay, and then we want to push those. Oh, we can push BX and CX. These should be word values automatically, hopefully, so. Oh, we want to clean up the stack too. Hopefully I didn't forget that too much. I might have. And we're changing CX. Oh, this is terrible. Oh, this is terrible. That's alright. I can make bad code really fast. That's my strong suit. That's my strong suit. CX. And then before we loop, move into CX word, blanks num. Very inefficient code, but we need to save it off and then restore it for this loop to work, so that's what we're doing. Add the loop label there, lop, loop, there we go. Don't really need to do 0E here anymore. CX and BX. Aha. Those aren't good. Those are being changed from this. As we print the character, we gotta move. Well, we gotta move the cursor as well. Gotta move that cursor as well. That's why I thought maybe I should put move cursor within the print character so that I wouldn't have all this duplicate code, but you know. Oh, this is a very inefficient file now. It was so simple and good, now it's so bad. Oh, it's so bad. So what you're seeing is a course study in terrible inefficient code shat out onto the screen. That's what I'm doing. Move into save bx. Oh, this is so terrible. I hate that I'm doing this. But my brain does not want to think of a good solution right now. Save and restore. Get rid of those. Okay. Oh, we have to do it after that. Okay. Put it after that. That works better. There we go. Print hex we need to change. Let's put that there for now. So the only other thing I need to do is change print hex, and I need to change this new line here. Let's change this this new line. Let's do that. XOR AH again. Okay, and then I overwrote my copy. Never good, never a good thing. Okay. I want to put it there. That's where I wanted to put it. Okay. Carriage return. Do this again. Going back, smack. Type it again. Use that copy paste command. We want to back, smack, type it again. If I start really badly singing, that's when I'm getting tired. If you couldn't tell. That is all right. That's just very painful. But that's all right. I don't need blank snum. I could use save cx, but I'm keeping it there for posterity's sake right now. I don't want to expend the brain power trying to fix it. I'll do it later. Oh, I hate that I have to do this for everything. It's the worst. It is literally the worst. Literally. We have to restore it. Then save it again. And then restore it again. And we'll want to restore it after. We'll want to save it again. And restore it after. And then we'll restore it there. Increments and then jump. Oh, shoo. Oh, I think we're done. And we're good there. Okay, so I should just need to change print hex. So print hex we're going to change. Make this like the other ones, variables. Change this rather. Y position. You know what I just realized? What I haven't done. I need to do this. Otherwise it won't work and I'll be like, why is it not working? Because I didn't do this stuff. Need to restore the stack. Not BP. So this will need to as well. then print hex. Oh, okay, moving to BX. Word. Just copy this. There we go. So hard to do. Print hex, cursor, X. X will be second, X should be lower. They should be reversed. Right? SI push word. Let's move that cursor as well. Why don't we? Sub these will be print hex. They'll be implicit. So new cursor XY is then BX, CX here. So print hex now takes cursor values, which makes it more bloated, of course. That's all right. Let's push the cursor X and Y, which in this one is print file table. Y, then we need to push X. And clean up the stack. And then they should, well, they would have changed by this point. So we'll update them. We're doing that now. Cursor position. Save it off, print the value, update the position. All right, so file table is updated to move cursor positions around everywhere and be crappy. Print hex is updated. Print character and string are updated now. Okay. So we would still have to change print registers. This is not going to work yet. Already defined. That's okay. Okay, this is not. Push SI. Push kernel cursor X. Which will be word. This should be after. There we go. All print screen text mode. Add SP6. For the menu header, I could just push 0. Let's just do that. And then we'll move, let's be CX. This will be BX after this is done and it returns those. So I'll probably increment BX. Just before I do that. Go down a row, we'll see what it looks like. If it's bad, I'll increment another time for another row. This is another thing in the kernel. If the first character the user enters is a backspace, CX will go to like -1. I don't want to do that. So let's just put something here. If they pressed a backspace, we don't want them to do that. So we'll jump CX 0 to wherever this position is here. Yeah, we'll jump to here or there. We'll jump to there. We'll just do this again. Save CX. CX. We want to save the value. Because this is going to affect it now. We print character. Key loop. This one we want to restore it. Okay. So print character will mess with BX and CX. That will be moved into these things. Need to restore them first though. Call print string text mode. Clean up that stack. Move the new stuff in from BX and CX. We need to move the cursor as well. We'll print the character to screen. It'll be an AL. And we'll push the kernel X and Y to call print character text mode. Clean up the stack, get rid of that. I'll have to save off BX first. And we'll restore it before we increment it. Get rid of that to do. So we'll do this. 0A. Oh, we need to restore these before we move the cursor. I guess at this point I could just push BX and CX. Yeah. Okay. That there. And 0D. And go to get input. Okay. And I'll move the cursor one mo again. One mo again. This print string should be like this. Methinks. All right, just put that to do right there to get to later. So other than print registers, we have changed everything. It will not work. We will get a bunch of 739 dang, a bunch of compile errors, and we need to increase the sector padding in this. That is all right. Print string, you will be no more. We have print string text mode now. At least I'm being consistent with these. I'll have to be consistent when I want to change them later, but at least it's consistent right now. All right. Just doing this preemptively at SP4 and go to get input. Print ray. Yeah, let's get rid of that. Push BP, move BP SP. Let's do this first. Move SP BP and pop BP. So the first one will be at +6. Yeah, let's make another set of variables for X and Y, because why not? That's just more garbage we'll have to deal with. Nothing wrong with that. But Y was pushed first, so we'll move that into there. X was pushed second. String. will be cursor Y. And then the same for print hex. So when I call print hex here, I don't have to move the cursor. Print hex, okay. At SP4. And I need to update the cursor position. And I do the same thing for all the other ones. Yay! All right. So print the string, we'll move the cursor. Don't need to do that. Print hex value, update cursor. So this is, yeah, AX. String, cursor, hex value, update. So print the string, move the cursor. Hex value will be BX. And update the cursor. Print the string. This needs to be BX. And print BX. And hex, update the cursor. Okay. C, print the string, move the cursor. This can be CX. Update. Just doing this repeatedly. And we have SI. Print string, move the cursor. This needs to be SI. Let's just put these here first. DS, print DS. Print ES and SS. Copy paste them. A bunch of code that I don't need to, but I am. DI, CS, print string. Just get rid of these print strings. All right. Well, okay. Print hex and update cursor. Or DI. And print hex and update the cursor for CS. There. C.S. Lewis. Print hex and update the cursor for DS, which is at this point. And then also for ES. And then finally for SS. Here. SS, update cursor. Okay, call print hex. That's what we did. Okay. And print character for these things. Okay, let's be push AX. Let's open up. Still using file table for all these. Oh, that's not good. I'll fix that in a second. That won't really work. It'll fail to assemble anyway. I'll fix that in a second though. Before, all right. All right. And just do the same thing for the carriage return. That takes care of that. No more int 10. So after print registers is called, BX and CX should be updated like the other ones. So we can move them here. BX. I'll just have to change these things where they say file table to registers. Cursor Y. Cursor X. Yeah, I will change these things in the future, probably near future. Because this is just way too much added code for little to no benefit other than replacing interrupt, which is okay. But other than that, there's no benefit to making this so much harder to read and go through. Update cursor position, that is YY. Now let's redo. Yeah, this one's YY. X. x, 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 okay. Just change it to that. Well, put it before. There we go. Could make a macro for it, I guess. Instead of typing all this out. Probably need to. So this will be print registers y. This will be the same, but with x, and then q. So I recorded a macro in q, so I'm hoping if I go here and put it there, press q. Okay, so I should do at q here. So at q. There we go. Thank you, Vim. For x. This should be at q. I think I can do at twice. Yeah. Print file table. Oh. Registers. Oh, it needs to be cursor. Oh. Can we do print file table cursor y? Change it to print registers cursor y everywhere. Let's just change print file table to print registers. Okay. Just do a bunch of substitutions. Very manual. Because I don't know Vim enough. I don't know regex and sed and everything. I should, but I don't. Registers cursor x. Alright. So I have kernel. Change that to print registers. Okay, well, stuff will have broken, and this is not going to assemble. Call print string text mode undefined symbol. Is it because that's before this is included? I mean, if that would help, I can move this up here and this there. Save bx is already defined though. That's interesting. Oh, because I have it in the other stuff. Yeah. It'll be kernel save bx. So everywhere, everywhere it says save bx, we're gonna make it say kernel save bx. Oh man, I love substitutions. Look at that. No, it said kernel save bx. Other than that, we're good. Kernel qsor. Okay. I have file table cursor y. I don't have print file table. That's fair. Is that what I called it? Did I call it print? I called it file table. Oh, here I call it print. 6x, okay. do a UE there, get rid of that. Let's use what I had before instead of making new stuff. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, the zeros don't work. 3072 is not enough. Okay, so let's see how much we need. I'm not sure. This might need to increase by a big number. I don't really know. We can try 35, 84, 512, right? Yeah. That one's not enough either. Probably will have to increase by a lot. Invalid. Wow, okay. How many sectors does it take to make this compile with make? Can I do math at this time of night? I don't know. I don't know if I can. 12 times 9. Yes, yes I can. Can we math it? Yes we can. Okay, well yeah, we do have to change the editor. Alright, so far we have changed all these print things to take as input a cursor XY value and to push out back to return, yes, to take in as input the cursor XY and to return the cursor XY. Okay, which needs to be cleaned up because they're all huge and bloated, but anyway. So I still need to change editor. File table we need to change for the new sector values in the kernel, but we really just have to change the editor now. And then we can test everything and fix anything that breaks. Right? Right. So the kernel's now in like 9 sectors. It's huge, it's bloated. 9. So 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 9 is 11. That's B. That's C, and that's D. So this should be at sector, oh yeah, should be a B. So 1 sector, kernel is sector 2, but we want to read 9. So yeah, we still have to change the editor. Okay. So yes, we do need print string text mode. Okay, let's continue on with more late night coding. I'll try not to mess things up as bad as I have been. Try to improve it rather, but first I want to get the editor, I guess, working with the new print functions because I wrote this to do now that I remember. Editor's too small. Let's see if we can maybe even get that to a symbol first. Oh, it was 4608, right? Yeah. 4608, okay. And we're using print string text mode, so I'm not going to use print string. That one. And then it's an undefined symbol. That's fine. That's what we want, so we know where to fix it. Okay. We were doing what? Something like push SI, then pushing our cursor values. So what I kind of want to do is change that to use the address instead of the values. That way I don't have to pass in the output back. We can just edit it in memory, but I'll change everything again after I get it all fixed, right? I'll just go back to square one, but the cursor we have, and then in this file, is it just called cursor? It's just called cursor X and Y. Well, that makes it a little simpler. Okay. So push word cursor X and push word cursor Y, which I guess they start out as 0. Probably want to initialize things, so I'll do that. Well, clear screen should initialize them. It moves them to 0, but it doesn't init. Let's just do that here just in case. So we'll just move 0 for both. Cursor X and Y. Except when we call it, it's row and then column, so this needs to be Y and then X before I make that mistake again. Print the string. Call print string, add SP6 was it? Yeah, because it's 3. And then move the cursor. Yeah. Which it's in BX and CX, so we'll move it back. The data at cursor Y will be BX, and cursor X will be CX. Yes, I'll just make this X and Y, or well, Y and X. I'll make that Y and X to be consistent here. Okay, new cursor, new values, so we do that, and then we can push them. And then call move cursor. And then add SP4. Okay. So we need to put it right there. It's a keystroke. Okay. Word file size. All right. Load existing file. I need to do it here as well. I don't have it saved, do I? No. I think Vim has registers you can save things in, but I haven't learned how those work yet because I haven't needed to, but that might come in handy here. Call print file table. Ooh, print file table's new as well, isn't it? Yep. Okay. That should be for that print string. That should be okay. So, push word cursor Y. Cursor X. Yeah, call it. Clean up the stack. Resetting the cursor there when we're loading a hex file. Am I printing? I am printing here, hex to ASCII, int 10, which the character will be an AL. XOR that because we need to push a word value on the stack. It only takes words and up. Push AX for the character, push cursor X, and well, push cursor Y for the row first. All right, and then X. And print character text mode. And add the 6. There we go. And then we'll increment cursor X when we get back. After we move BX and CX back into them. Now I need to do all that again. Call hex to ASCII print. And do that. And put it there. Increment. Okay. Get rid of that int 10. We do need to move the cursor after we print the character, I believe. We should. So I'll do move cursor. Let us move that again for the next one. Just get rid of those. Although I'm handling newline now. Well, I'm handling the carriage return. So that's in print character, so I could change that, I think. We would just push AL regardless. or AX. Because AL would be 0D, so I don't think we need to do that. And that'll handle this. It'll move it to 0. Carriage return will make it 0, so I may still want to increment. Okay. If I move them back in. But we need to update the position after print character, because we have not changed that yet. Okay, more boilerplate. We'll hopefully be able to take this out in a bit. So I do kind of want to change to take the address and not the value, so we don't have to do this. It'll automatically be updated. But right now it's not. So yeah, we'll keep updating these after just to make sure. Check delete does it as well. Okay, push AX. Six rather, not 7, 6. All right. Okay. Let's take what we did here and just copy paste. That's always nice. After the space, we copy paste. And get rid of the int 10 because now we're replacing that. Here we have print string. Ooh, there we go, another print string. I don't need to put this comment every time. I'll probably remove that. I'm just putting it here because it makes it consistent. But I probably won't always do that. Ampersand. Okay, I'll leave that there. It's a to-do, so I'll pick it up later. I'll see it and be like, okay, that's what I meant. Getting better at typing over time too, which is good. At least typing the same thing again and again and trying to speak at the same time. Getting a little bit better at typing. Touch typing has helped a lot. Having a keyboard with blank keycaps has helped my touch typing a lot. Although since I have it memorized, I can, if I need to, I can look down and put my finger wherever. And that sounds wrong, but you know, I can still, if I need to look at the keyboard, I can. It's just they're all blank. Okay, don't need to do that. I will update cursor values. Try not to forget to do that until I change it, so I don't need to do that, but right now I do. However, this we need to change because it's int 10. I think this is the last int 10. Yeah, so that's not too bad. So I don't need to do 0e if I do this, which is good. Push word cursor Y. Getting to the end of this file till I can test it. That's always nice. SP6, and then we'll update the cursor again. We don't need to do int 10. Should be all right. Get rid of that, commented it out. Print string. Needs to be print string text mode. Definitely needs to be that. That means I do need to move the cursor for this stuff, yeah. That's why we do these double checks to make sure. Nothing wrong with that. Alright, so I'm not using print hex anymore. I'm not using that in this file at all. That's interesting. Okay. That wasn't the right way to spell make. Call print strings. Where's this at? Editor. Undefined symbol. So I missed one. Alright. I did right there. That's true. Okay. Relative jump out of range. Interesting. So it's too far. For I guess a short jump, we might need to make it a far jump. I guess, well, it is a big file, isn't it? 275, 275, no. 275. G. A loop, load file, hex loop. Relative jump out of range. So all this, since I added all my crap in there, it's now too far up here. The relative jump is too far. I wonder if making it a normal jump would be okay. Because it's loop, so it would be, oh, well, CX is being changed with the loop mnemonic, or the loop, yeah, instruction anyway. This was going to break regardless. Let's move into save CX. Do that first off. Save off CX to begin with. And then when we get down here, we'll restore it. Oh no, well, I might not need to put word. Put word just in case, but I don't remember if I need to or not. I'll do it just in case. Okay, restore it. So let's see what happens if we can do decrement and then jump not 0 to load file hex loop. Well, that seemed to fix that. That's good. Undefined symbol print hex. So am I calling that? Oh, and print file table I'm calling it. Okay, and print file table is included within the editor. That's why I had print hex. Okay. Print file table uses this. Invalid. Oh, and it's too big. It's a huge freaking file. Jeez, how big is this file? It's huge. Another 512. 400 would be 5008. So 500 would be 5108. Jeez. And plus 12, 5120. Dang. It seemed to have worked, which is good. But 5120 is a bit big. That's 10. That's 10 whole sectors, man. Hey. 10 whole sectors. Big old thing. Alright, well, this is symbols, so only took me 40 minutes. I don't know, 4.5 hours overall. Obviously, we have some issues right off the bat, but it's not as bad as it seems, so that's good. But there is some issues here. So it looks like the new line is not working for the header. And that prints out 2 spaces every time. And that doesn't work. Fair enough. All right. Well, we're getting output. Obviously, none of it's correct, but we are getting output. That's better than, you know, complete garbage. Like directory. Some of that's complete garbage. What's the first thing that broke? It was just typing. Regardless. Probably don't need to do this anymore. Move cursor to next. So print already increments the cursor. So I don't need, oh, I have an increment right here. Yeah, I don't need that. I mean, that would be one small change. Yeah, so now it doesn't skip them all out. But of course that doesn't work. Yeah, so okay, I'm handling LF and CR, but I'm just moving some arbitrary cursor position. I'm not moving where the data is going to be printed in memory. So even though I'm saying, like for line feed, move down one line by incrementing the Y position of the cursor, I'm not really printing at that location. I'm still printing off, you know, basically just in a line. So I'm kind of ignoring these when I'm printing them out. I'm ignoring them in video memory. So how do I fix that? I think if we're going down one row, we need to go down one row of bytes. Y times 160. So add 160 bytes to DI. Current position or line position or something. I don't know if it needs to be a word or a byte. We'll just do a word. It might only need to be a byte, 0 to 80. Okay, now we can do this. So we'll take whatever the x value is, which is what we moved into here, multiply it by 2, because that's how many bytes we're at, and then we'll subtract that. Okay, that's the position we're at. So yeah, we'll use that. That should be all right. So what are we not using in this loop? Bx, which we're returning anyway. Okay. Do this first. Move bx, word, print, string, cursor x. Yeah, we want to multiply it by 2, so I think we can shift left by 1. That multiplies by 2. Okay, and then we can subtract that from di. Okay, that'll move to the beginning of the line in video memory. I think that'll work. Then we don't need a line position. But forget that. We already have the cursor values. That gives us the position in the line. So let's see what that does. It did a symbol. Oh, there we go. There we go. Does that make sense? If a full line is 80 characters, and yeah, in this VGA, apologies, just coughed. If a full line is 80 characters, and each character is 2 bytes for the VGA text mode for the colors, background, foreground, and the character. A full line is 160 bytes. So if we go down one line on the screen, that's also in video memory, that's actually adding a full line of characters. So it's actually adding 160 bytes. If we go to the beginning of the line, we passed in the cursor x value, so that's our position within the current line that the cursor's at. Each character is 2 bytes, so we can take that position multiplied by 2 for the byte value of where we're at. And if we subtract that in video memory, then we go to the beginning of the line that we're at. So if we're at, character 10, the byte value would be 20. So to get to position for character 0, we would just subtract the 20. Yeah, that looks a little better, although it printed this line again, which isn't good, but yeah, so I think we need to change print character text mode like we just did print string, which would make sense. Because we're doing CRLF here, yeah, we just need to do that. Okay. Move word, shift left, bx. Yeah, shift left to multiply by 2 and then sub that. Okay. Oh, slightly better, but not quite. But we do need to move it here if it's at the end of the line. Move 0 will be Basically what we did for CRLF. Oh, I got some more numbers, but it's still messed up. Oh, I'm just calling it. Yeah, that's why. I'm just calling it. That could be something. I added parms to it. Yeah. Probably need to push those parms, buddy. That would help a lot, wouldn't it? And I'll update the kernels after. Kernel positions after. Okay. There, now it prints below the cursor. Good, good, good. What is our issue here? Oh, starting sector to read. Yeah, that's going to be B now. Yeah, that's the issue. So we got the first little bit to print. It does not print after the entry number, which is interesting. Oh, this needs to be X. That needs to be X. That was Y. That could be an issue. Saved BX, print X. That needs to be X. Yeah, those two were wrong. All of these are. Guess I didn't save those, or I messed them up. I know I remember messing with those and it wasn't good, so I probably just left it bad and didn't see it. Alright, let's see if that changed it. Change the Y's to the X for CX. Hey, there we go. Mostly good. For some reason the blanks aren't correct anymore, but the values should be. So I also want to, this is like, I don't need this many lines. Let's reduce that as well. That's a small fix. Or small change, rather. Let's not increment BX. I don't think I messed with the spaces at all, but you know, you never know. I could also replace that with move AX 0020. So, just saying, could do that. 4. Make that 8 and 9. Okay, that's fine. This should be back to where it was. So the next thing would be print registers. That doesn't work anymore. What happens if we go beyond the screen? It does not scroll. It moves SI and calls print string. Ah. Then SI is what we're using for reg string over here. Okay, so print hex, let's add a push SI first. Because we're messing with that, so we'll add that in there. And then we will pop SI. So would that make a difference? Not in directory, that's good. That would make all the difference, nice. We don't have scrolling, so there we go. That's all I had to do. So, save and restore SI. If you mess with the stack, well, if you mess with the register and want it to be correct in multiple locations, you have to ensure it's correct by keeping it so. There we go, that fixed that. That's good. I do have a new line there, but Okay, whatever. I'll just get rid of the new line there. And the print reg heading variable. This is in the kernel again. There we go. Just get rid of that new line. All right. Okay. I just want to make sure. Let's create a. Oh, that didn't look right. Something was effy there. What was that? I saw something there. That's in the editor. Choose file type string. Okay, and I did this to do. I guess I'm not. No, I'm not resetting the cursor when I do clear screen. That is why. Okay. That's fine. There we go. Initialize. Okay. Actually, let's make sure every time we're calling clear. Calling it there as well. Kind of need to initialize every time I do that. Although I might be doing this within the thing already. This needs to be 0. That'd be a good thing. Can't have that. Not here. Not push word, not kernel, just cursor. Just cursor Y. Man, I do this crap everywhere. This is a sign that I can improve things, though. If I see duplicated code everywhere, I'm now thinking about it and how to improve it later. That's okay. Let me just... All right. So let's create, there we go, new file. I'm incrementing one too many times in the new file when I'm typing. New file text. Text editor, input character loop, okay, move them. Okay. Moving that in. Oh, increment word here, move one forward. Well, it's already being moved one forward from print character, so yeah, we don't need to do that. Don't need to do that. That's probably what it was. Yep. Testing, line 1. Enter works, line 2, enter 3, third line. Control S. Okay, the cursor doesn't move in entering file name, but that's alright. Test file 1. That's 10 characters. We can go beyond the limit there. So when we enter the file name, that's not correct. I'm not moving the cursor, that's why. That would be why. Move cursor. There we go. So what I also want to do, since we're using loop, we need to save CX and restore it. Because CX is getting out of whack there. That's why 10 is not working. It just keeps going. So we could also use push and pop instead, and that would use less bytes, I'm sure. But oh well. 23rd, not really. All right, Control S. Test file. Now the cursor moves 0, 1. Oh, save file error occurred. Oh, that's the first time that's happened. Oh, file table. Yeah, is at a different position, isn't it? Yeah. That would be why. File table is at B, not 8. B. So just need to change all these to the new file table sector, which is B, instead of 8. Rest file instead of test file. Oh, still error. Okay. So it gave an error occurred. However, it did write the file. But it did save it on the disk. If I go to load, it goes there. So rest file 1. Load file error occurred. Okay, I found the issue. It's something very obvious that I just forgot because we hadn't run into it yet, and that is sort of related to size limitations of what we're doing. So we are emulating a floppy disk, and it turns out that using cylinder head sector addressing on a floppy disk, there are 18 tracks. No, there are 80 tracks and 2 heads, although usually just 1. And the number of sectors per track or cylinder, track and cylinder are the same thing. The amount of sectors per track is limited to 18 on a floppy disk. So there's 80 tracks of 18 sectors, which is like 1440, and then 2 heads, so 2880. But yeah, for our 1.44 meg floppy at least. So anything beyond sector 18 was going to error because it would be on a track that was not track 0, if that makes sense. So, I mean, I saved testing 1 here. It saved all right without error. It can load without error, although loading is still broken. You know, but it does load. Let's go. So saving, so I put debug in here. So for the last save sector for the editor, before we save anything new, it's D for the file size, or it's D for the starting sector, which is 12, and then A for the file size. Or well, D is 13, sorry. D for the starting sector, which is 13, A, which is 10 for the file size. So 13 plus 10 is 23. 23 is above 18, which is the sector limit for one track. So, you know, if I test and increment the track number in CH to 1 and CL5, 18 plus 5 is 23. So it's 5 sectors into the second track, which is track 1, because it's 0 based, although sectors are 1 based, which is annoying, but that makes it work. So I just have to put in some more code here to get the right track and sector numbers up to 18. So something like doing a modulo 18 on the sector number. And then so we can get that with just, I think, just the div thing. So let's put this here, get correct sector, I'll do track, get correct track and starting sector numbers. Okay, but I think we can do this with like divide and divide by like 18 or whatever. So if we divide by 18, 18 fits into 1 byte because it's less than 255. So we would divide, if we just use div, it would divide AX by 18. And then the quotient would be an AL, the remainder would be an AH. So if we divide by 18 and get a remainder, then we know, well, for one, the sector number is above 18. And we can use that with the quotient to determine what track we're going to store it to. So if track 0 stores sector 1 to 18, and track 1 will store sectors 19 to 36. If we have, like our current case, sector 23, if we divide that by 18 using this, the quotient should be 1 stored in AL, the remainder should be 5 in AH. So we can say, okay, track 1 in sector 5. If we had like 36, say, and we do this, the quotient would be 2, the remainder would be 0. So we would know it would be, well, actually it would be 18. track 2, sector 18. So if we get a remainder, the remainder would be 1 to 17. If we don't get a remainder, we would just use 18 because the remainder would be 0. Yeah, so let's do that. There we go. We'll put it there. So we'll divide by CL. No, we want the track. Never mind. Yeah. We'll move into ALCL. And then we'll move CL 18. Let's do this. 18. For our purposes. And then we'll divide by that. So that'll divide by 18. And then the original CL value here would be 23. So it'll be 23 divided by 18, which is 1, remainder 5. So AL should be 1. So we'll move that to CH, which is the track number that we want. Then the remainder in AH we'll put into CL. And if there is no remainder, if AH is 0, then CL at this point would be 0. So we'll compare CL 0. Let's just do this. Jump not, this is bad, but oh well, I want it to work. If CL is 0, I want to move 18 into it, else we're good. By making a little label. Okay. So let's see if that works for saving, and then we'll add that to loading. See if that helps to make it automatic, say. That would be nice. Still gonna be 23 that we start at, which is 13 plus 10. SDN1. Nope, it says save file error occurred. Oh, well. That did not work. Oh, AH has 3. Yeah, AH has 3. I need to zero that out. We could a move ZX work here? Zero out AH. Let's see if that works. Actually, we need to make AH 3 again anyway. Because that is right sectors. Yeah. Yeah, we need to do these two things. Okay. That could also be why it failed. It does not. It's invalid. It might only work on 16-bit or larger operands, so word registers like AX. Maybe I have to do that. I don't know. That's fine. We can XOR this till I figure out how that works. I won't worry about it. Testing 001. Oh, look, no save file error. And it's saved in the right sector and all. Loading will give a load file error though, or if we try to load it here, it'll say program not found. But that code I think is good. I think so. We'll do the same thing in the load file. Let's do that. There we go. Yep, add this debugging there. Which is weird it didn't work, because I set up debugging. Vector number to start reading at. Move that to AL, divide by 18. And the number of sectors to read. Okay, let's see what that does. So we need to make a file. Make a file, it's saved. It's there. And it loads, hey, so we're good. No load file error. All right, let's go back. It does not load in the kernel because we're not doing that sector stuff in the kernel. That's sector math. Let's try to fix the kernel loading first while that's on my mind. It corrects track number and sector number. Put that there. So the kernel should be able to load those now. Let's make a file and test that. We have that there. Hey, there we go. It is garbage, but it loads it, so that's good. But okay, let's see if we can fix the loading text file in the editor, or at least find where the error might be in there. I don't know if it's load file text or it is. Okay. Cursor X and Y are 0. XOR. We're already doing that, so yeah, we don't need to do that. We need to move the cursor, yeah. Which this is going to do automatically. But we need to put that in. Move cursor. Let's move them into there. That's BX. That's CX. And we can push these. Okay, and then add 4. There we go. We do that. All right. Is that the only... Okay, hopefully that's the only issue. Jump out of range. Nice. That's greater than whatever, 120 whatever bytes. So... Coolio, cool beans. Okay, well... Tell you what we can do. We can save off our good old pal, old buddy, old friend, oh me, oh my, CX. Because we're using that for the loop check. And at the end, we can move it back. And then decrement it. And if it's not 0, we'll go back to the loop. Now let's make the test file again. It's there. Let's load it. And there we go. Now it loads correctly. Just had to move the cursor. Okay, so let's test multi-line files as well. We'll delete that and go back and make a new one. Test line 1, line 2, blah, blah, blah. Okay. That's fine. We can name it whatever. It's Sting 20. Let's load that. Oh, multi-line files do not work. That's great. Okay, what if we try to save another text file? Create new. Test line 1, line 2. Save test file 1. Okay. Let's try to load test file 1. Oh, that loads. So I don't know what the issue was there. Oh well, maybe some other bugs I need to find. Even though we have a very bad, crappy implementation for printing characters and strings in text mode, it does work, you know, like a dumpster fire. But, you know, the fire's still burning, so that's good. It's not smoldering ashes just yet. It's a bright dumpster fire of a future. We replaced int 10 uses. The only thing left is the mouse cursor, which actually isn't that bad. I don't know if I want to do that now or not. I have time. I could. Then screen move cursor. So this is all we have right now. We're calling int 10 in here. I do want to replace that. Yeah, with the hardware ports. So this guy explained it better than I ever could. So there's what's known as a CRT microcontroller. It's there from, legacy reasons. And you can use this and manipulate it to manipulate what used to be CRT stuff, including the hardware cursor on the screen, even though it's a blinking, underline or block or whatever. It is an actual physical thing that's set from a CRT microcontroller, say, through its registers, through its ports. So this one comes with, this is small text, sorry. There's 2 ports that you can use for this, and that's the index register at 3D5 hex and the data register at 3D4 hex. I think one of these changes this from to 3B5 and 3B4. I don't remember which. It's probably on this page, which if I remember, I'll try to put this in the description. If not, it's Broken Thorn Resources OSDev 10 HTML, which is prepare for the kernel part 1 on the index page. So anyway, so this is the index register. This is 3D5, and you get offsets into this register, and that decides what you're actually going to be writing to, what you're going to be affecting if you want to write to it. So we're going to be using E and F offsets into 3D5 index register for the cursor location high byte and the cursor location low byte. So if we write an E, and he shows that down here, he's writing an F for low byte, high byte is E. So if we write an E to the port, to the output port, 3D5 for the index register, it will say, okay, we're going to be writing to this thing, the cursor location high byte. And then what you want to do is send the byte that corresponds to that data into the data register at 3D4. You do an output, byte to this with the data for the cursor location high. And then you do the same thing. You write F to port 3D5 for the cursor location low byte, and then you write the actual data to 3D4. So, and I like this guy's simple example here. So I guess it'd be easier, to go low to high. So if you set up the cursor position in such a way that it's like, I think kind of what we're already doing, but Y, your row times the size of a row pretty much to get your Y, and then you add X to it. He's moving the data around, but he's writing F to the index register. That's not right. Data register 3D5. Did he get these backwards? He might have put these backwards. So this is wrong. So this is supposed to be 5 and this is 4. Well, that's confusing. Or I'll check. I'll check in my code, and if one doesn't work, I'll do the other. But anyway, let's assume these are correct. And the index is 3D4 instead for some reason. I don't know why he has a typo up here, but whatever. Hasn't been updated in a decade, I'm sure. So if you write the value F to the port 3D4 using this out command, you're saying, okay, we're going to write to the cursor low byte. Then you put in that data, and then you write the cursor high byte the same way. So it's pretty simple. So instead of doing this, we'll do this move cursor using CRT microcontroller ports exclamation. Now we're extra happy, 2 exclamations. So first we need to write the cursor low byte, which he had this. DX is row and column to move to. But we need to calculate that for the byte value. Alright, let's calculate cursor bytes first. Yeah, basically it'll be Y position. Let me do this. Y position times size of row plus X position. That makes a little more sense. Instead of moving it to DH, let's do... I need to write to a number. We can write to DX. Let's also push BX. We'll do this. And then we'll pop that first. So we pushed it second. So let's do imul. So what do we want to put into bx? We want to put the row times the size of a row. So the row will be in AL rather. I don't know if I can do this. AL times the size of a row, which is 80. There's 80 columns. And hopefully we can add DL. Okay, let's just see. No, we can't do that. Okay, just making sure. That's all right. We'll XOR AH, we'll do AX. Add BXDL doesn't match. Okay, but the other one worked, so. XOR DH, that's fine. So the low byte will be, since we added it to BX, the low byte will be in BL. And the high byte will be in BH. Straightforward so far. So we want to write to the low byte first. So that is F or E. Sorry, I forgot. F is the low byte. Yeah, and then E is the high byte. So we'll do F. So moving to AL, 0F. It doesn't have to be DX, but we're using that for an example. That's fine. 3D4 should be the same as 0D34. And then write to that port. Okay, and we want to write the actual value. Should be 3D5. And we should be able to do out BL, because BL will contain the low byte. So that should be okay. It'll be the same thing pretty much, just a little different, so not the same thing. This will be E. Cursor high byte. And then we'll write BH to that data register. Okay, so hopefully that's all we need to do. Not absolutely sure, they do not match. Add DL to BX. Oh, add DX. Out DXBL, invalid. Okay, so I can't do that. Probably have to do the accumulator. That's fine. That's fine. We'll just move BL to AL and do AL then. Move BH to AL and do that. There we go. Oh, would you looky there? You see that cursor? It's moving. It's right there. So everywhere we call move cursor should be all right. It's moving forward. It moved down. Hey, that was a lot easier than I thought. That's good. It's good when people, even if they mess up and have typos on their 25-year-old webpage, it's good. And it's a great webpage. It's good that people provide info out there. So that's awesome. I will also look up ways to simplify all the print logic we did. So it'll probably involve changing print character and print string at least, if not the others, to instead of taking the value for the cursor, it'll take the address and we can work with that instead. I just didn't do that too much because I wasn't thinking of how to do that. So if we pass the address instead, we wouldn't need to pass BX and CX back and forth. We can get rid of all that because it would be already affected by the cursor would be changed within those called functions because the address would be passed is my line of thinking. So I'll try to think of that, ways to simplify that and how to scroll. And if I can get those two things better refactored, fixed, and worked out on the next one, I'll do that and then move on to the parser and calculator if that sounds good. And then we'll move on from there to hopefully replace more interrupts or do other fun stuff. Takes me a while to edit. Apologize for that. I'll try to get more content out. I have renewed motivation and I'm trying to get disciplined and forcing myself to do this and get over my anxiety and other weirdness talking to a webcam and facing the music that I don't know everything and I want to learn, you know, OS dev and stuff. So sorry, this is a bad, you know, amateur doing this stuff, but I'm learning as I go. If this was an actual tutorial series, I would try to make it a lot more succinct and valuable. This is more just me fumbling about till I get stuff to work and editing that down into a more palatable take, right? In sections. So anyway, if you do enjoy this, awesome. If you don't, that's fine too. I do really appreciate people that watch or get to this point, even if you only watch 1 second of the video or like 10 minutes or all 3 hours, whatever I upload. Really do appreciate it. It means a lot. And yeah, I'll keep going from here. Thank you for watching again, and I will see you on the next one.